again, we in Pierre know how winning is done. We would like to congratulate the Pierre Governor Wrestlers on another State Wrestling Championship. Let us now meet our starting lineup. At 106 pounds. At 106 pounds. Leading things off, Jack. I'm better looking than my twin brother, Van Camp. I know exactly how Jack feels. I'm better looking than my twin brother, too. At 113 pounds, Lincoln. I'm feeling much better today. Two-time state champion. At 120 pounds, a three-time state champion, I will ride you tougher than nails, Turman. At 126 pounds, Chase, you are very lucky that I didn't weigh anything close to 126 pounds bench pressure. At 132, Michael, my second home is the training room. Defending champion. And at 138, it's Austin. I need to go for a run, Singer. Third place finisher. At 145 pounds, Eric, so smooth on his feet, Williams. Third place at 145. At 152 pounds, state qualifier McGuire, I will reverse you quickly, Rescue. At 160 pounds, state qualifier Garrett, stronger than Ox, Leisman. At 170 pounds, gauge how sweet it is to be a governor, Gary. At 182, Lucas, when I wrestle, I'm like Superman Stoltenberg. Cape and all. Fourth place at 182. And at 195, state champion Spencer, my pin in the finals look easy, Seringer. 285. Tie, I broke a school record for most overtime matches, Paulson. 6th place among the big boys. Ladies and gentlemen, 14 guys went all the way for the 3rd straight year, and 5th time in the last 6. They're pretty good. State champion, Governor Wrestlers, give it up. But now I'd like to introduce the most important members of the team. 3 young ladies, the student managers. Ladies and gentlemen, Maria Noyes, Kyla Keys, and Haley Norchner. And then, of course, we have the coaches. They do a pretty good job. Dusty Paulson. Chad Urey. The Hall of Famer. John Wayne Calda. And 3-time state champion head coach of the Governors, Sean Lewis. Welcome to the stage. It seems like we've been here before. Congratulations once again to the cream of the crop in South Dakota. There's a lot of teams that look at this bunch and they just wonder, how can we get to where they are? And I think a lot of people are starting to take note. And when you become state champions yet again and again and again, I think it's only going to get tougher. And the reason for that is because everybody's trying to get better so that they can be as good as the champions are. So that means we have to get better too, right, Coach? Thought of that all by myself. So the mark of a champion right here. And again, last year we placed 13. We almost set a state tournament record. We could have, maybe, if things would have gone a little differently, but 206 last year, and I have to be perfectly honest, I was probably one of them that on early Friday afternoon was probably thinking, wait a minute, this isn't going to be so easy, as other teams were getting better. And we were losing a couple of matches, found out we weren't going to place 13 wrestlers, but we still had the guys that had what it took. Once we got through the quarters, into the semifinals, and a lot of great wins in the wrestlebacks. And obviously the Governors shine in the semifinals. They get 4 of them through, including 4 state champions. Raise your hand if you're a state champion individually. That's where the real points are scored. That's all right. We all know who you are anyway. So, the one thing about being a state champion, though, is you have to, I don't know, take a few more speech classes or something, so you're not so afraid of public speaking. You want to? Should we do that again? Should we re-interview some of you guys? No, I'm just kidding. No, it was a lot of fun to watch. Everything about the weekend was just outstanding. And I'll let the coach talk about some things, and we'll hear from Coach Lewis in just a little bit. We want to keep moving, though. We're going to start with opening comments here tonight from our athletic director, Mr. Brian Mosier.
Thanks so much, and thank you all for coming tonight. This is a very special night, not only for me, but for the entire Riggs community, and especially for our coaching staff and for our wrestlers. One state championship is something that is always memorable and remarkable, but when you have won as many as some of these young men standing up on the stage, and as our coaching staff have won over the past few years, is actually a feat that not very many people will ever say that they ever are going to be able to accomplish, and definitely they never will accomplish. So again, congratulations on our state championship, gentlemen. Enjoy it for about another 24 hours, then we got to get back to work. And that's truly how it goes. I never once thought about taking on public speaking, but if I could stand up in front of you each day and talk about state championships, I would probably change my career and do it on a daily basis. Getting up and talking to our community about the wonderful things that our kids are able to accomplish is truly one of the greatest parts about my job, because it's one of those things that not every AD gets an opportunity to talk about. I forgot to look at it, and I mentioned it a year ago, but I believe we're somewhere right at about the 40 state championship mark for the history of South Dakota, 40-45. And to think that this team right here in front of us has won 4 out of the last 6 truly is a statement in itself. And if you really want to look at it, there's less than 15 coaches that are in the state of South Dakota that have actually won a Class A state championship. So it is difficult to do, and it's another one of those feats that I think it takes highly qualified people, not only to be leaders, but to step on the mat and wrestle. So again, congratulations. Parents, I can't say enough about the support that you've given your families throughout this year. The traveling is so brutal when you come down to, when you're traveling across the state, from meet to meet, but just the overall endurance of sitting in a gymnasium for 10, 12 hours on a single day, cheering and rooting on your athlete, cheering and rooting on your fans, as fans, is something that a lot of people don't understand. So again, I want to thank you for your strong support, and I want to thank you as the Riggs High School staff, because I truly do believe that you set a positive and supportive environment and a passionate environment that sets the stage of all Riggs athletics, because it is a strong commitment week in, week out, and the travel and commitment that you give and the sacrifices that you give is tremendous. So thank you so much to the parents. This past weekend was truly something special. I can stand up here before you and I can talk about the 3-time state championships in a row, or I can talk about winning 5 of the last 6 state titles. But for me personally, it's way more than that. As your athletic director, it is even bigger than what I can even imagine. It truly is about character, pride, commitment, desire, teamwork, unity, heart, and the will to succeed. A great competitor and coach by the name of Dan Gable once said, "There is no mat space for malcontents or dissenters. One must neither celebrate insanely when he wins, nor sulks when he loses. He accepts victory professionally and humbly. He hates defeat, but makes no poor display of it." As I read these words tonight, I can't help but reflect on our kids and the character of our kids and coaches and fans from this weekend. I think about how we place ourselves in situations of not always being the victor. We had several heartbreaking matches this weekend, several that we can all think back and reflect upon. And in most towns or communities, when a kid falters or fails in their mind, they would quit. They would give up, and they would not think about team. Trust me, I don't want to take anything away from those of us that were fortunate enough to be state champions. But this state championship, in my mind, was won in the wrestlebacks. Kids displaying deep passion and digging deep within themselves to motivate themselves to a point that is much higher than themselves. To understand that teams come first and that the success of one individual does not matter if it does not help the team. Success of oneself does not matter if the team fails. There is nothing more difficult, and trust me, I've been there, than watching the other kid's hand get raised at the end of a match. Walking over to the coach of the other team and shaking their hand and telling them good job. And then walking over to your own coach in total disappointment and having him tell you good job. Those words, they mean a lot to not only the coaches, but to the athletes. And then above all else, we ask our child, we ask our athlete, we ask our son, we ask our teammate to strap it up one more time, to put that singlet back on, to snap the headgear one last time, to fight back through the wrestlebacks for our team. 6 grueling minutes that feels like an eternity. The clock slowly ticking, the periods going by slow, and the only thing you hear is your heartbeat ticking and beating throughout the match. Dan Gable also said, there's always ways of motivating yourself to higher levels. Write about it, dream about it, but after that, turn it into action. Don't just dream. I would have to say these 14 young men up here turned it into action this weekend, and that is why they're sitting up here on this stage. I can only hope that those of you that fell short of your dreams continue to grow, continue to learn, and continue to improve. Each day in my life is a lesson, and what you do with those lessons is up to you. It is no secret that I too was one that fell short of my dreams. But now looking back, I have learned more from my failures than I will ever learn from my successes. Thank you to each one of you for your strong commitment to the team and strength to continue to push yourself forward and to strive through those wrestleback rounds, which are the most important rounds of a state tournament. So thank you. Now for Lincoln, Will, Michael, and Spencer. Your leadership and will to win was remarkable this weekend. I don't need to go into great details because those of you that were there at the state tournament, you watched it, you witnessed firsthand one of the most incredible things I've ever seen. Each one that sits in this room knows the obstacles of what happens and what obstacles we all have to come to make sure that we meet our goals. The final round was one that I will never, ever forget. I will always cherish, as a wrestling fan, the commitment, the desire, the anxiety, and to be honest, how I wanted to throw up during Lincoln's match. The work ethic that went through to get where you guys deserve to be. Congratulations to each of you again. That is something that you will cherish for the rest of your life and that you will always remember. Again, parents, wrestlers, coaches, fans, and just those who love the sport of wrestling, congratulations to all of you. And I present you this year's 2016-17 Class A state champions.
Thanks, Mr. Mosier. We'll continue to move along with comments from the coach right at the top, Mr. Sean Lewis.
Well, unlike Mr. Mosier, I have never thought about public speaking in my life. In fact, this day is always one that it's a little nerve-wracking. To make sure that you get in all the things and you say the right things, and regardless of if I get in everything or I forget everything or if I miss somebody, either way, can't take away from what these guys accomplished. So, the first off, I'd like to start out with a whole list of thank yous. To sit here and say that this came without, a bunch of help from a bunch of different places. I mean, it came from a lot of different places. And the first thank you that I'd like to issue is to the water and to the city of Pierre. Mayor Lori Gill, I don't know exactly what you're going to find in your study of the water here, but please don't change anything. And I'll also never have a gig in comedy, because that's about as good as it gets. But other thank yous that need to be said. Casey Michelson, she's absolutely the greatest athletic trainer that we have. I think she's also got a minor in sports psychology. If you don't know, just ask Ty. She was also the only non-Sanford trainer that came to weigh-ins Friday morning. She didn't think the bus came back, so she got on with us. Another thank you, Barry Monfort. Every team needs a doctor. There's two things every team needs, and it's a doctor and a lawyer. And thank goodness we haven't needed that whole lawyer thing. This team doesn't need one of that. But oftentimes we got to keep our kids, we got to keep them healthy, got to keep their skin diseases gone and preventative and all sorts of notes. And so Barry's a guy that comes in and does our certification, does our skin checks for us. Week in, week out, we couldn't do what we do without him. Another thank you is Scott Miller of the Capital Journal, just recently came on. He's done an excellent job supporting us, our wrestling program, and our entire area here, especially for wrestling. He's been huge for us, giving coverage that we deserve. One of the biggest ones, the entire community of Pierre. I've had countless emails from community people that I didn't even know that they knew that I existed. But they've come and said congratulations, and if I could extend all that congratulations and support. I mean, the whole city is proud of you guys, and they've expressed that, and we're very thankful that we have the community that we have here, the support that we have, especially fan support. I mean, you look up at the state tournament, and we've got a whole green section, and no other Class A school has that. The only one who can even rival it is the Canton student section, but our fans are pretty loud and in charge anyway. Also administration. Our school's administration, I don't know if any other school had 5+ administrators, school board members, and other staff people at the tournament. To have 5+ in attendance with our superintendent, Dr. Glow, assistant superintendent, Troy Weeby, high school principal, Rob Coverdale, elementary principal, Ryan Jones, and of course our wonderful athletic director, Mr. Mosier. I don't know if any other school has that, so it just goes to show the support that we're getting, from everybody. It's not just one single facet. Another huge thank you, and I know it's dark in here, but I see all 4 rows of you guys right here. All you youth wrestlers, you guys are huge. You guys come to every duel. You guys treat these guys like superstars, even though, trust me, they don't act like superstars sometimes. They act like high school kids. Okay, but you guys come in, and I saw you guys pretty much at the state tournament as well, showing your support, okay? You guys keep dreaming big. Because as I said in my interview on South Dakota Public Television, is this whole thing is attainable. It was a dream had by these guys when they were your age, and they believed that it could happen, and that's why it happened. And so we thank you, youth wrestlers, okay? Keep after each other, work hard, support each other, and never forget to dream big. Our youth coaches as well. Our youth coach is a huge reason as to why this program is where it is. For us as high school coaches to sit up here and be selfish and say that we did this, that is completely not the case. Our youth coaches started this whole train in motion many, many years ago. How old are you, Lucas? You're 18. So Lucas has been wrestling for 14 years. He started when he was 4. He reminded all of us this weekend, and he thanked all of his youth coaches and his dad in the wrestling mat in the basement for getting this whole thing going. But yeah, youth coach, I mean, because you guys is teaching, sometimes you guys are in daily grind with kids who have an attention span of about 2-3 minutes, and you're trying to show a move. One that you learned for the better part of your entire life, and you perfected it. You're trying to show these kids stuff, and you're like, oh my gosh, what difference am I possibly making in these kids' lives? Stay after it. You're making a difference. These guys are living proof of that, and we thank you. Path Youth Club presidents. I was reminded of the entire history of Governor Wrestling when I got here, and to think back to people like Rick Jensen and Myron Bryant, who really got our youth club organized, rolling. I know it goes back previous to that, so I'm not trying to leave anybody from the Boys and Girls Club out. But those guys kind of organized what the Pierre Youth Club, the wrestling club, was all about. And then you move on. I know there's other people like Wade Reimers, Kevin Paulson, Lonnie Stoltenberg, Paul Turman, Trevor Levy, and now Chauncey Strake. You got a lot of pressure. It's we're deflected all on you, making sure that our youth program keeps giving us the quality of kids that they give us. And it starts at the top again with the work that our presidents and the board has obviously done. Other personal ones, Paul Turman. Paul Turman's, of course, again, been one of our past youth club presidents, but also took on another duty outside of the 85 other duties that I think that this guy does, and everything he touches is gold. But our online blog, if you guys have not read our online blog that he's put out, oh my. Okay, the guy's a very talented writer, as well as, like I said, the 85 other things that he's done in his life, so we definitely thank him for that. Another one, Ryan Noyes. Ryan Noyes, I mean, I wouldn't be here without Ryan Noyes. I wouldn't be here. Ryan Noyes recruited me to come here. He was still coaching at the time. Recruited me to come here, wanted me to be a part of this whole thing, and laid it out there under many, many phone calls, and said, you need to be a part of this, and I'm so glad that he reached out and that he didn't need to do that. He already had things going here, and just wanted to include as many other people in it as possible, and I know that I'm not the only person that Ryan had an effect on. I know that Ryan also called, Coach called as well, and said, hey, we want you to come here, the whole recruiting aspect of that. He recruited Chad just to come and help and be a coach and be involved in this thing, and well, he had to coach Dusty, so I mean, Dusty also owes a huge appreciation to Ryan Noyes as well. So we definitely couldn't have done this whole thing, you know, without him and his fingers and his talents. Parents, as Mr. Mosher said, we wouldn't have any of these 14 guys, 3 girls up here, I mean, without you guys. Not just for the obvious reasons, you know, behind that, but like I said, my shot in comedy is pretty short. But, I mean, just the hours that you guys put in, I mean, most of the time parents are the first coaches that a kid has, and you're the first psychologist, and you're the first athletic trainer, you're the first dietitian, I mean, and you get to listen to them complain when they come home or you tell them to go to bed. I'm learning all that, but parents, I mean, this could not be done without you. You guys really helped make our job really easy as raising wonderful young men. Moving forward to coaches' wives and families, the coach's widow expression, I guess, is the best thing. And each one of these coaches up here and their families, as Dusty and his family, and the wives, as Chad, John Wayne, and myself, all have wives and kids, and this is the time that we spent away, and them just allowing us to do that is huge, and it is much appreciated, and we couldn't do it without their support. Which is then moving into these guys up here wearing black jackets. We've got other middle school coaches, Ryan Munson, Kirby Cronin, Travis Heasley. Again, they're giving us great kids, constantly mentoring those kids, and that's a tough age. I know we've got a few of those guys in here. But having Dusty back in this program, I mean, Dusty's talents are endless. His wrestling knowledge is vast. I think he's also got quite a keen on sports psychology as well, as he knows how to keep these guys loose and relaxed most of the times, and also how to killer motivational speech in a locker room. But that's what Dusty does. He keeps these kids relaxed. He does what he does. He wrestles with these guys. He battles with these guys, and we can't thank him enough. Chad, you're right. As Brian Oakland claimed, Hall of Famer, two-time Hall of Famer. And I told him he's got more Hall of Fames than I have halls in my house. I got this comedy thing going. It's keeping me from being emotional, so bear with me. I mean, as Chad comes in again, he works around his schedule the best he can to come and make sure he's at everything in the weekend. And those two guys are volunteer coaches. They don't get a dime to do what they do. They do it out of love for the sport and a love for all these kids up here. And also John Wayne Calder. He's been my right-hand man throughout, thick and thin, for the last 4 years, and everything he does, and he's there every day working with these kids in the classroom, in the wrestling room, afterwards, counseling me as well, and telling me not to stress out, and that I've got blotches all over my face, and taking care of the managers, and making sure Mike's quiet. He does that really well for me. But I mean, I can't thank these guys enough. It's amazing what they've done. And lastly, the guys up here, the wrestlers. I mean, huge thank you to you guys. None of this is possible without you guys. You guys, the JV, as Will pointed out in his interview afterwards, I mean, those guys are the guys that battle. They push us. They do whatever they can do, and they get it done. So thank you. Now, as I stated earlier, I've had a lot of emails come through today. I spent most of the day answering emails and not going to class, as I took a personal day because I was tired. These guys all came when I came in this morning and dropped the trophy off to ask me if I could take them home for a personal day. So luckily parents didn't have any calls from the schools. I didn't take any of them home. But I did get one email in particular that really stood out to me, and I'll go ahead and read that for you. It said, "Sean, congratulations on another great tournament. I wanted to talk to you after it was over, but I missed you. Your team wrestles hard and are very respectful young men. Very simple words, a very simple message, but it was a very special message to me because it came from my high school coach and official, Mark Stabler. And so to hear that from somebody to whom I respect so much and gets to see these guys wrestle on the mat, gets to officiate them, it meant a lot, and it speaks volumes as to what these guys do, what they embody, and how they act and perform on a daily basis. And so I wanted to make sure to share that message with everyone. Now moving on to our wrestlers. Obviously first, I'm going to get these girls first because I do believe last year I forgot them. Our managers, Haley Dorster, Maria Noyes, Kyla Keys. Man, they do a lot. They do everything from track wrestling, huddle, upload and tagging. Now they may forget to upload every now and then, but we get it up, they tag it, they do everything for these guys. They make these guys cookies, which I know isn't really good in the diet plan, but we make them anyway because they like the treats on the bus ride home. They take care of the med kit. They're basically our trainers as well. They make sure everything equipment-wise gets to, gets from, gets checked in, gets checked out, and they make a coach's job really spectacular. So if I could have one more round of applause for them. Now, getting into our lineup here, at 106, we have Jack Van Camp, state qualifier for us. Okay, Jack is the teddy bear of the team. Okay, Jack's the guy who likes to eat a lot of sugar, get really hyper, and then of course I gotta put him down and get a tranquilizer gun, and Billy, you know everything that I'm talking about. Okay, this guy's got a lot of energy. He's bouncing around. He gets his team riled up and excited, and he should be. I mean, it's the guy at 106. That's the guy who starts your team off. And Jack did that at the state tournament. He started the team off with a solid victory, a pin in the state tournament. Goes on then, wrestles the guy who ends up winning it, very tight match, Jacob Wood, 8-0, and then gets headlocked by Bo Beavers from Lincoln. And you know, Jack had kind of a year where he learned a bunch, and he didn't get to his ultimate goal of placing at the state tournament, but hopefully he learned that he can't dump everybody, okay? So you need to find 85 different ways to get into your dump. He learns that he needs to adjust and maybe he needs to get in the weight room. But we've got a lot more years with Jack Van Camp, and he's definitely, this is the first year of him being in the varsity lineup and not the last time that we're going to see him. He's going to go on to achieve great things. He's just got to use this as motivation to keep going forward. But either way, Jack, throughout the year, you did a solid job. At 106, thank you, Jack. At 113, Lincoln Terman, two-time state champion. Lincoln Terman. I'm really not, I don't know, I mean, you guys all know the story. This kid was about as sick as I've seen a kid, and wrestling at the same time, not alone, just being able to walk around the house. Pale as white as a ghost, and that started day one. And, I mean, he wrestles his first match, and Tech Falls a kid, that's a lot of points. And he comes off the mat, and he looked very good, and I saw him kind of slowly walk back off, and so I went back and talked to him afterwards, and, Coach, I'm sorry. What do you mean you're sorry? I threw up in a trash can, and it didn't have a liner in it. Like, yeah, I don't think the ladies will care. I don't think they'll know it was you. It'll probably be all right. But either way, I mean, the performance that then he went to put on wrestling in the semifinals, and you know, as a coach, we always tell him, I mean, if you leave everything out there, if you need us to carry you off the mat, we'll do that. And after the semifinal match, we had to do that. And then him going and getting IVs and the uncertainty, and him not being with the team, and really kind of wondering what was going to happen. We didn't know how the state finals match was going to go. And he comes back, and he's still white, pale as ghost. You throwing up again? Yeah. Trash can this time? Yeah. It had a liner in it. So he felt better. But then I was like, hey, man, you gotta get your stance. You gotta show us some life. You gotta do something. And then that was about it. I was like, oh dear. So we pulled him aside, gave him a little bit of motivational speech. Man, you got 6 minutes. That's it. That's all you gotta do. You gotta suck it up for 6 minutes, and you gotta go out there. And you gotta do everything that you can to go ahead and lay this thing down. And as you guys watched the match, I mean, you did it. Very tough opponent in England, and to go out there and win 1-0, and have that much energy and defend everything off and score when you can, and to be in the ER, getting a bag of fluid 6 hours previous. Thank you, Lincoln Terman. At 120, Will Terman, 3-time state champ. Will had an interesting year. I think he categorized it best in his interview on South Dakota Public Television as well. So he didn't necessarily have the year he wanted to have. I mean, he took 4 losses on the year. 2 were to Cody Bouvier, and who was standing in front of him at his main goal at the end of the year? It's Cody Bouvier Stevens. And Will is a kid that I've always known to be, he's a very intelligent kid. And when the lights are on and they're the brightest, that kid's at his best. And if you want a guy who can go out and take and execute a game plan on how to figure out an opponent, study an opponent, beat an opponent, and make an opponent wrestle where Will wants them to wrestle rather than where they want to wrestle, I mean, that guy's it. I mean, he's proven it in all 3 of his state championships. His first one, he was a freshman wrestling a senior. Probably not supposed to win. Second one, okay, he was the favorite going in, proved it, dominated. This one, not the favorite, guy that's beaten you a couple times, regardless, got it done. Okay? Now he's in a place that very other few have been. Toby Bryant, Tyler Bryant, Jeb McKees, 3-time state champion in Pierre history. He's just a junior. Thank you, Will Turman. At 126, we had Jace bench rusher. Had Kate Hinkle. Kate Hinkle obviously had an injury. But Jace, to talk about Jace, I mean, this is a kid who we thought was going to be our backup 6-pounder. We knew he was going to be in our varsity lineup somewhere at some point in time because he's good. The kid works hard. He's got great technique. He's just not 126 pounds. And, you know, we're going into the region tournament. I'm like, man, I mean, I can get this done. I really do. I mean, we as a coaching staff, we believe in this kid to get it done. He goes out and has an amazing regional tournament, places second in the region, loses to the kid who then ends up getting second in state. Okay, but also at the regional tournament, hopefully he was paying attention. He beat a kid at the regional tournament who then, based on his draw, went on and placed in the state tournament. Jason, I hope you're watching that. Okay, I hope you've seen a kid that you beat, that you dominated, placed in the state tournament in a weight class that's probably 2 above yours. Okay, and although Jason did not place in the state tournament, getting into the state tournament, getting state tournament quality matches in is only going to help him prepare and move on. And I know that this state tournament is going to motivate him to do a lot of great things in the next couple of years. Thank you, Jace Bench Rusher. Next up, Michael Lusk. Again, another 2-time state champion. Kid that tests me and my patience every single day, and he takes pride in it, as you can see in that smirk that he's got going on right now. Either way, I mean, absolutely love that kid. You a kid who absolutely, when he goes out there on the mat, is going to lay everything out there. He's so slick on his feet, getting angles, taking shots. He doesn't let anybody get to their offense because he's too busy all over his. And most people can't match that pace, because of the fact that if you're shooting that many times in a match, most people get tired. I don't know as if I've really ever seen Michael get tired. He's constantly on his offense. Wrestles a kid in Tyson State that he's got a lot of admiration and respect for as their friends. And lost to at the Yankton tournament. And a last-second takedown. And again, it was a close match. It was all as advertised. And, I mean, Michael went out, laid a great state tournament down. Beat a kid in the semis that had also beat him throughout the year. And regardless of what happens throughout the year, okay, when the lights are on, the end of the year, the lights are the brightest. Michael's also shining his brightest, locking down his second state champ. Thank you, Michael Lutz. .138, Austin Sanger. Austin probably epitomizes exactly what Mr. Mosier was up here talking about battling to the wrestlebacks. He's kind of been our wrestleback machine the last 2 years. You know, I know he's going to sit and shake his head at that because I know where his ultimate goals are. They're to be in the finals. Okay, exactly where he was as an 8th grader. And I know he hasn't done that, but he's also been a guy that's an absolute model of suck it up, put your chin down, and get back to work. And if you think about what he did in the first couple rounds with the pins and the beating the kids that were tough, and about battling Tyler Watterson, if you would ask Watterson, his toughest match was in the semifinals, I know he'll say it. Okay? As you had him on the ropes, you had him lifted, I saw his toes squeaking off the mat. He was trying not to go to his back. But again, like you said, the pins in the state tournament and in the wrestlebacks, and then going out for 3rd and 4th and beating a kid who you wanted that match real bad, okay? As, you know, we probably believe that we probably should have been the 3 seed, being on the other side of the bracket. Maybe things would have turned out different, but that's kind of the way lives are. There's never any regrets that need to be had, but coming back and get 3rd in a battle for the team and team points when ultimately the state tournament was locked up and done because of those guys in the wrestlebacks and that guy epitomizing it. We got another year, you'll get that title, trust me. Thank you, Austin Sanger. I'm going to skip over 145. I'm going to see the class. So 52, McGuire Rasky, again, 2-time state qualifier as an 8th grader. McGuire throughout the year, I think, learned a lot about being technical, being on his offense, and not just throwing people around and being flashy. And he's up another weight class, okay? Probably up one weight class, maybe two from where he could, what should be, is I don't think this kid has ever skipped a meal in his life. Jamie, am I correct on that? Maybe he ate Panda Express before weigh-ins, I think. So, I mean, he is where he needs to be. This kid's battle tested. He's got state tournament experience. He's had big match experience. And I know watching people that he has beaten plays at the state tournament burns him deep. And I hope he takes that with him through the summer, as next year's team is going to need him and need him greatly. But anyway, for this year and your efforts, thank you, McGuire Rasky. 160, Garrett Leisman State qualifier. Tough weight class, deep weight class, good experience. Strong as an ox, makes up, moves. I don't know what goes on at Leisman Farm. I think they've got special wrestling videos and technique all to their own. Although I don't know if Raleigh would agree with me, because I think he disagrees with some of the moves that his kid does. I remember back to the Yankee tournament. It's like he'll never be able to turn anybody with that move or pin him. Garrett takes it as a challenge, goes out, I don't know what he did. I think he whispered in the kid's ear, "Hey, turn over, I've got a bet with this with my dad." Pin the kid, looks up at his dad, smiles, gives him a thumbs up. I don't know. And I'm not going to pretend to know, but either way, Gary, you work hard in the room. I mean, you guys in the state tournament, you did what we asked you to get your butt down to 160 pounds, and we got a few years left where we can get some more good stuff on him. Thank you, Garrett Leisman. 170, Gage Daring. You know, and I know we took Gage with us to the state tournament. He's sitting there watching people, watching his teammates, and Gage is a kid who works his butt off. He did everything that we asked of him for this team. He get himself down to 170 pounds. We weren't quite sure at the start of the season how our varsity lineup would shake out. But like I said, Gage worked himself down there, had a little bit of a setback after his brother broke a pool stick over his arm, and then got staph in his elbow. But anyway, he came back strong from that. Cut the weight, got down to 170 pounds, did what he needed to for the team, and he was there. I mean, he was, you know, just a match away from being able to go to the state tournament and to get there, and we'll take it moving forward into the future. But thank you, Gary. Now, I don't have anybody to skip as we're running into our seniors, but so I'm gonna back up. 145 pound Eric Williams. I remember Eric when he was in 8th grade. I came into this program and Eric was probably 105 pounds, sopping wet, not very big. And the one thing he had, Jack, was a dump. So there's things looking up in the future for you, Jack. And Eric, I mean, he had a great dump. He got stuck in the front head, and that was about all he could get to him. And I don't know, he seems like a blink, and these guys are seniors. And he was also one of the most prolifically offensive kids on his feet that I've gotten to coach, and just the diversity of the different things and the scrambles and the moves and the student of the game and the will and the want and the hard work and everything. I mean, he was there. And I know that semifinal match, you know, he went for it. I saw the move, it was there. I mean, he went for it, and it just happened to be against a kid who was funky and got down. Early in the match, he came back, fought back hard, never stopped wrestling. And that's something that you young guys should learn, is if you're down in a match, you look at Eric, he never stopped wrestling. He fought himself back in that match. Just never stop. Trust in your offense. I mean, we teach that, we preach that in the room, and he embodied that in that match. And then, you know, as he's coming off, and you see that he's heartbroken because he wants to end his senior year in a state title, and we ultimately want that for every single senior. But you know that they have to regroup, and they've got to come back, and they've got to come back to the team, and to come back to the team, and to do it the way that he did in the wrestlebacks, and to come back and get third, you know, to a kid who also could have been in the finals. I mean, you take those top 4 kids in that entire weight class, and I have the utmost respect for every kid in that weight class, especially those top 4, because any one of those kids at any given weekend could have been the state champion. You re-wrestle those 4 to 4-man bracket. I don't know if it would ever turn out the exact same as very evenly matched, but I mean, the blood, sweat, and the tears that Eric has put in the summer work, and the will and the want, and the embodiment of what we preach is second to none, and I thank you, Eric Williams. Moving up to 182, Lucas Stoltenberg, aka Dusty's practice partner. Or is that the other way around? Is that Dusty? Dusty's your practice partner? Yeah. Lucas is a pretty stubborn kid. Lucas wants to practice when Lucas wants to practice. Lucas wants to wear a Superman cape, Lucas is going to wear a Superman cape. Okay? But that stubbornness also transfers over onto the mat as Lucas is going to do what Lucas wants to do. If Lucas wants to chin whip a kid, he's going to go out there, he's going to let him take a shot, he's going to lead his leg, he's going to chin whip a kid. And it's just what he's going to do. He wants to bait his leg out there, he wants to let him shoot, and then I'm going to spladle the kid. The guy's arsenal of wrestling is unlimited. And then you saw the technicality as soon as the wrestlebacks hit. He wrestled so technically sound in the wrestlebacks of sprawling. And then he was shooting, he was taking shots down, he was getting there, and I mean, he wrestled so well the entire tournament. I know the first day was a little tight, and I don't know if he was a little nervous, finally got nervous, but I mean, he wrestled really well. Come back, you're in the wrestlebacks, and you get a kid who's beat you 3 times, 3 times, Wickhurst? 2, 3? And then you get out and get a win over that kid. I mean, it was pretty cool. And then a half an arm swipe, maybe away from getting 3rd place. Either way, I mean, a 4th place finish was something I think that was pretty cool for Lucas. And I know that probably wishes he could have had that 3rd place finish. But either way, I mean, great way to end your senior season. Thank you, Lucas Stoltenberg. .195, Spencer Seringer. Like you said, you kind of want every senior that you have to go out on top and to win a state title. And Spencer being able to do that was pretty cool. Especially to know that wrestling is probably Spencer's 3rd, maybe 4th most favorite sport on a list of 4 to 5. But with that, as soon as wrestling season hit, you never questioned as to what Spencer was in, what he was involved in, what he was doing. Just because baseball and football may have been higher on his love-to-do list, competing was always number 1. And whether that was in practice, or out there on the mat, or a football field, or a baseball field, you never questioned that. As when wrestling season hit, I mean, it was wrestling, and it was wrestling on. And in the practice room, I mean, he worked hard, and if he wasn't getting what he needed, he would grab one of us 4 and make us hurt. Okay, as you guys have seen Spencer wrestle, I mean, he's very creative, very fun, funky. I mean, he's got all sorts of stuff. I've never seen a kid wrestle in so many different positions. And it probably starts with the fact that as an 8th grader, he's a 106-pounder. And now as a senior, he's a 195-pounder. Now as a 106-pounder, he also had a size 13.5 shoe, so we knew it was coming. Okay? It was just a matter of when and where. And now Paul's online blog is completely shot because he's the only Seringer, sorry Kyle, that has a state championship. So story's over, it's done. Thank you, Spencer Seringer. .220 Levi Stoltenberg. What do you got, Jack? Levi was the teddy bear of the team before you were the teddy bear of the team. Levi is still the big teddy bear of the team. But he doesn't wrestle like a teddy bear. I know that Gail's stress level is going to go down by 10-fold after this year. You don't have to worry, Gail. I'm not going to give any more beef jerky out to the fastest pin. Levi's now completely out of that. For those of you who watch Levi, it's completely fun to wrestle. It goes upper body, and it's it's pin or be pinned, and oftentimes it happens in under 35 seconds. Not that he doesn't have the conditioning, because we've tested that, we've seen that, we've known what he can do, but even though he looks like a teddy bear, I don't think any of you out there realize how strong this kid is, and that is why he does and goes for the moves that he does. And Levi took a lot of pride in his wrestling this senior year about making sure that he did things and he did things right. And I mean, you guys saw that at the state tournament, 5th place finish. Realistically, he was our closer. When he pinned his kid for 5th and 6th, that was it. Mathematically, statistically, state tournament was done, it was over. We recall a teeny bit of forearm strength more away from being in the 3rd and 4th place match, but you know what? Either way, I was excited to see this kid give his all each and every single match. Exciting to watch. Never forget. Thank you, Levi Stoltenberg. And heavyweight, been a heavyweight for 2 years, Ty Paulson. I do really think if they had a stat for most overtime matches, you would have it, as was in the nicknames in the introduction. Always a heart attack, always extra minutes, extra matches, not something that ever you see a heavyweight conditioned to do, but Ty was conditioned to do it. And that was because of how hard he worked. I mean, you think last year, I don't know if he was expected to play, supposed to play, and then all of a sudden he tears his ACL and his PCL, and he's done for the year. And Kevin waves the magic horse healing hands over his knee, and he ties it back, and here he goes, and we get an 8th place finish. And then this year again, I mean, we didn't know the first part of the year. He was struggling to wrestle, figured out body position here and there. I don't know what Christmas present he got, but after Christmas, this kid really started to wrestle. And really started to wrestle hard. And I think it was part of the fact that he knew how he wanted to end his senior season. And you saw that at the state tournament. I mean, pins a kid who he had a last-second takedown with in the first round. Second round, wrestles defending state champ, takes him into overtime, loses tough, tight, has to come back and battle, and that's what he did. He won matches. He gets to go up against Austin Monty with Aberdeen, 4th time they've seen each other every time. Oh my gosh, down to the wire. Ty beat him the first time. The kid got the next 2, but Ty got the last one, and that's the one that ultimately counts. And then, like I said, work up and get 6th place. I mean, finished heavyweight, again, a very, very deep heavyweight class in South Dakota for a field. We're going to miss you, Big Red. Thank you, Ty Paulson. Okay, last but not least, I felt like I need to say, because I don't ever say it enough, and I'm reminded of that from a few of you, but every year is different. Not one year is ever the same. Everyone's got struggles, something different, but every year you guys come through. And every year I sit, look back, we as coaches sit and look back, but we want you guys to know we appreciate all your hard work, all your dedication, all the time that you guys have put in, and ultimately we want you guys to know that we are so proud of you. We're so proud. Thank you.
What he said. Outstanding job, guys. From day one to where we are today, state champions once again. I think high school sports, the best thing about high school sports, a lot of people say, teaches you life lessons. And for those of you who didn't get to your goals and who didn't get to the level of where you want to be, I think we learned some life lessons this past weekend. But whether you end up in a learning experience or if you end up on the top of the podium, the one thing about high school sports is it's all about making memories. And I think it's not just for the students, but I think the people who went to the state tournament and the good times that all of the people in this room have when they go to wrestling tournaments, and whatever it takes. I mean, it's just, it's a brotherhood, it's a family, and unfortunately, not every high school sport is like that, but wrestling, that's why wrestling to me is the greatest sport in high school. That's all there is to it. So it's all about making memories. I think we certainly had a lot of memories this past weekend. Take them with you, okay? And like Coach said, we are proud of every one of them. Michael, do you want the seniors to go up here?
Yeah, I do.
Maybe we should. All right, come on up here, seniors. Maybe making memories is a good way to start that off. Just give us a little idea of what this sport and this team means to you, and whatever else you feel like saying.
Thank you for all the Pierre people who came out and supported us at state. I would like to thank my parents also for supporting me every single step of the way.
So I'd like to thank everyone that came and watched, especially our coaches, every day, strapping up even though they might not want to. And, I don't know, maybe the sea clubs or wrestle. And just everybody, I guess, coming to our tournaments, our matches. Yeah. Well, with Lewis, we've been here for, since 8th grade, and longest he's ever had any wrestlers or whatever. And I'm glad we have these coaches as our coaches because it makes wrestling a lot more enjoyable than it is. Because we can joke around with all these guys and have a good time whenever. And they're a little more laid back than some other coaches because you see coaches, some coaches are just yelling at their kids. Some of them are, and they walk off the mat, have a bad match or whatever, they'll pat you on the back and say, help you with stuff. And one person I'd really like to thank is Coach Dusty, because these past 2 years, he's really been helping me a lot, even though I don't want to wrestle him at practice. I'll go with someone else, I'll go with Levi or something, like, nope, I'm going with you, and I'll say, all right. And they'll come grab me, and they'll grab me and, you know, work with me, and then sometimes after practice, they'll work with me even though I don't want to, but it's been good, so thanks.
I just want to say thanks for all the fans who came and supported us this weekend. Couldn't have done it without you. And I would just want to say to the youth wrestlers, stick with it. It's pretty fun to win the championships. And Mr. Lewis here, during practice when no one else wanted to wrestle me, he's always there to push me. Thank you.
I guess I'd just like to say thank you to all the fans first, because wrestling would not be fun at all if we didn't have people cheering for us. I'd also like to thank the coaches and my teammates, because once again, wrestling would not be fun without them. And last, I'd like to thank Coach Easley for coming up a lot of the times towards the end of the year. I think that might be the Christmas present that Lewis was talking about. So I'd like to say thanks to him and all you guys.
training partner, Bubbins, the little 8th grader over there. He's gonna be a 4-timer.
Alright, so we can't end this without a camp hi. So we need JVC up here.
When we get done saying this, we're done with this season, so. 1, 2, 3. We're done.
If I'm not mistaken, that's not all the seniors that are up here on this stage, though. Should we get one more up here? Yeah. Come on, girl.
They're all taller than me, so I love this sport a lot. It's helped me through a lot of things, and Mr. Lewis has been my #1 fan throughout high school. And even though the boys don't really talk to me, they've helped me through a lot of things too with their laughter and their jokes and everything. And I'm really gonna miss making cookies for them, and just everything that they've done for me has been great. And yeah, I'm done.
To me, that's wrestling right there. That's what it's all about. Thanks a lot, you guys. Real proud of every one of them. And you kids sitting down here, I would invite you when we're done here. Everybody, we're going to have cake out in the lobby. Don't forget, there's a girls' basketball game that's going to be starting in about 15 minutes up there too. I really hope everybody has a chance to take that in as well. But kids, feel free to come up here and see what this trophy's all about, okay? It's really shiny. It's just beautiful. It's going to sit next to the other ones down the hallway. All right. Thanks, everybody, for being here. We